Hello, I'm Dr. Nidhi Gupta, pediatric endocrinologist and digital wellness coach in Nashville, Tennessee. This is Inspinar. My guest today, Sonal Uberoi, is a globally renowned wellness expert. She is the founder of Spa Balance, a boutique consultancy that specializes in creating wellness concepts for luxury hotels. Sonal is the author of the bestseller, The Wellness Asset: How to Transform and Future-Proof Your Hotel. Sonal, welcome to Inspinar.
Hello, Nidhi. Thank you so much for having me here. It's such a pleasure and honor.
Thank you, Sonal. So wellness seems to be this new buzzword. Every industry, every business, every organization, every person is talking about wellness in some shape, way, or form. In your word, what does wellness mean? And is this trend here to stay?
It certainly is. You bring up a very, very good concept here. Wellness is certainly that buzzword, and definitely every industry, every company, every organization, every person, there are even countries joining what we call the wellness bandwagon. And to start off with, whether this trend is here to stay or it's a trend, I just wanted to make a distinction between the words wellness and well-being, because they seem to be used interchangeably. And though they're very similar, they're not synonymous of one another. And in my book, The Wellness Asset, the way I define these two, just to help differentiate them, wellness is what I call the toolbox. Wellness is all the therapies, all the services, therapies, meditation, alternative medicine, everything that's out there that helps us achieve what we call our ultimate goal, our well-being. And when we're talking about well-being, we're talking about our mental well-being, we're talking about our spiritual, we're talking about our physical, our emotional. So the pandemic in these last few years, what it has done, it is that it has accelerated the need to actually look after ourselves, and not only ourselves. Our well-being is also the well-being of our people, our environment, our community, and it's the well-being of that whole. So this is now center and front. This is now front and center. There has been this shift in paradigm where people no longer live to work. That generation has died. What we're doing now is we are working around our lifestyle, our well-being. And there is no amount of money or professional success that comes at the price of our well-being. That no longer is an option. So I think both wellness and well-being are here to stay, and stay for a very long time. I liken this, sometimes we had the industrial age, then they talked about the digital age. This is now the well-being age. However we want to define it, this is the new age, the well-being age.
Pandemic has accelerated the need for us to take care of ourselves. We no longer work to live, but we are working so we can continue living in well-being while we are taking care of our well-being. Beautiful. What kind of a wellness experience is the modern guest in hospitality industry looking for, Sonal?
That is a $1 million question, I think. You know what? Well-being, and hence the wellness toolbox that we choose, changes all the time. What wellness, the toolbox, and well-being mean to us today will mean something very different tomorrow. And what it means for me could be something very different to what it means to you or anyone around there. So what is today's wellness consumer looking for? They're looking for hyper-personalization. They have real well-being related problems and they want them solved. And what their well-being related problems are today can be very different to what they will be tomorrow, and will be incredibly different to what they will be in 3 or 5 years' times as our lifestyles evolve. So what the consumer is looking for today is just having their well-being problem resolved, whatever that problem is today. It's being understood. What is it that's affecting me today, and that you can help me solve with the wellness toolbox you have on offer, irrespective of the type of organization or whatever you offer.
The modern guest is looking for hyper-personalization when it comes to their wellness/well-being needs being met. Do you feel the modern hospitality industry is equipped with the art and skills to fulfill these expectations? And the second question is, give us a few examples of what are these hyper-personalized needs of a modern guest. What might be a few examples? What are they looking for? And can the hospitality industry fulfill these?
So to answer the first question, is the hospitality industry well equipped? Yes, it has always been well equipped. We humans have traveled for millennia to seek, to escape, to regenerate. We've done that for millennia. We're curious, and that is all ultimately linked to our well-being. So I think hospitality by nature is equipped. There's nothing more powerful than allowing someone to come to your home, show them your local culture, show them your local customs, show them where you are, and allow people to interact and make meaningful connections. There is no industry out there that allows us to do that. So is the hospitality industry well equipped? Incredibly well equipped. And then second, what are examples of what certain hospitality businesses are doing? We will take, let's say we've seen the mushrooming of boutique hotels in the world right now. And they can be something from 10 to 30 hotel rooms. And what they're doing is they're inviting people in, guests to their homes, right from families. What the kids of that family would need are very different. What the parents would need are very different. But all the activities, art, pottery, mushroom picking, going on a bike together, just laughing or cooking together. Those are examples so simple, yet so incredibly powerful that actually ignite and enhance one's overall well-being. So we have always done, when I say in the hospitality industry, we have always done these services. We've just not talked about them or labeled them as part of our wellness toolbox. But ultimately, they all enhance overall well-being of every single guest coming in. Now, you're mentioning earlier on that you're going to go on a retreat. I can assure you, within your group, within your family, each person might live the same experience, but the memory they take will be incredibly unique and different and real to each one of you. And that is what hotels do. And the boutique hotels are doing it incredibly well, which is kind of encouraging the mainstream brands to kind of change the way they do hospitality, which in the middle, they've kind of lost their way.
Mushroom picking, strawberry picking, pottery, laughing together, cooking together. I hear a lot of undertones of a need for human connection. That seems to be the biggest hyper-personalized need for most guests. And it looks like the hospitality industry is very cognizant of creating those human connections. At the same time, I also worry about the over automation and the under humanization of certain aspects of hospitality industry. From the time where you check into the hotel, you don't see a person at the desk sometimes. Or the whole experience sometimes is over digitalized. What is your thought on that, Sonal? How does that impact the overall wellness experience of a guest? Are guests appreciating the automation, or would they wish there was a person at every step of their vacation?
That's a very, very good question, Adina. I think this is something that, the industry is seriously evaluating. I wouldn't say we're battling with it, but we also have to take into account the population pyramid has gone into population mushroom. So from now until, so the 2020s until end of 2030, the bulk of the Western population is actually going to move from the 40 to 50 bracket to the 50 and 60 bracket. So this is the first time in a very long time that we are actually the first time in history, I would say, where we have 5 generations actively consuming and actively contributing to the economy. We have people in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and even 70s contributing. Now, why does that matter? Because we have mixed within these 5 decades of the population what we call digital natives. Try to get a conversation from my 20-year-old niece. Good luck on that. Or you will have the 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds who actually appreciate that connection and will not send WhatsApps full of emojis. They won't do that. But the 20-year-old might not want to speak to anyone. Yeah, clearly I'm making a huge generalization, but the point I want to transmit is that the first time we're actually having digital, natives mixed with digital immigrants, or immigrants we want to call us, and we're learning. And so how we hyper personalize according to each of these generations means that there does need to be a mix between that human touch and that automation. And I'd also like to, on that point of automation, I think all these huge technological advancements we're seeing, so we're seeing artificial intelligence, we're seeing a lot of technology being introduced in our day-to-day lives, and it's not here to replace us. The way I look at it, it's here to make us even more human. It's here to help us, do the work we only humans can do, and remove from there all this incredible admin and mundane work. We also can't forget the fact that hospitality, and I'm sure the medical field, you probably will be seeing that they're no longer the sexy industries out there. People want to have that work-life balance. They don't want to be working on New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve, understandably so. So if there are fewer people in our talent pool to choose from, for us, we have to make sure that the talent we do have, we're looking after them, and we're making their lives as easy as possible, because ultimately, if their lives are easy, they're not picking up several phone calls at one go or filing stuff. They can actually be human and look after a guest. So I think actually it's here to help us. I mean, I remember when, checking into the airport, I do not want to see anyone right now. I would rather have the boarding pass on my mobile phone. I'll go. I don't need to see a person. Okay, I have to see it to give in the passport check. I don't want to see a person. Before, we would stand up hours on end on a queue trying to get a printed boarding pass. You can't choose your seat. Do I really need to speak to someone to choose a seat? Do I really want to have to speak to someone to cancel or refund a ticket? I think that is actually making our lives easier. That is actually helping us enhance the overall well-being and experience of our consumers. So I actually vote for more technology, and I actually believe it makes us more human and not more robotic. but that's my humble opinion.
More technology has a chance of making us more human and not more robotic. And the hospitality industry is constantly navigating the challenge of catering to the needs of digital natives and digital immigrants. Along this conversation, Sonal, you also mentioned the need to take care of the employees in the hospitality industry. And I know at one point I had read one of your posts on LinkedIn where you talked about the digital wellness of the employees. So tell me more about that. What can hospitality industry do or is doing to uplift and nurture the digital wellness of their employees so that when they are taking care of other guests, when they are nurturing the wellness of other guests, they are themselves not burnt out?
This is such a good topic that you're bringing up, employee well-being. And when we are talking about employee well-being, there are many ways we can deliver that well-being. And we're talking specifically digitally, the benefits of digital wellness. Now, I will define digital wellness as having this portal. Now, I could be defining it in a very different way to you, but the way I define it is the ability to have this portal, this place where you could go to and you can actually look through and navigate through mental health well-being problems, a whole gamut of issues that employees face, burnout, the ability to speak to a counselor, the ability to actually book in one of your sessions, a coaching session with someone who could be in a different part of the world or someone who's in the same cultural mindset as yourself. That ability is what the hospitality industry has. And we're also seeing that we're allowing our employees, this is the first time we're actually being incredibly flexible with how we work with people's shifts. It's not 6 days in a row or 1 day off. We're actually we're having that dialogue with our employees. What are they looking for? What kind of shifts? Now, what you might find good for your lifestyle might not fit to my lifestyle, but having that cookie cutter approach to every single employee will not help. Even personalizing their wellness and their well-being on how we treat them and how they show up to work, that is what the digital aspect allows them to do. So capture all the information we need in order to give our employees the well-being or the wellness toolbox that they need to enhance their well-being.
The digital well-being of the employees is one aspect. The other question, which comes more from my own work as a digital wellness coach and the work that we do in Freedom Foundation, is about the digital wellness of the guests. Are there experiences out there that are designed to nurture the digital wellness of the guests? Maybe if a guest checks into a particular hotel and is curious about how they can digitally disconnect, what can the hospitality industry do to foster that culture and make it not an odd experience out and make it more of a normal experience in most hotels? Is that a possibility in the next few years?
I have a question for you, just to make sure that I'm understanding this. What is digital wellness for you?
Digital wellness for me is to be able to disconnect from the information overload, to be able to reconnect with yourself, to be able to reconnect with your loved ones, to bring all of your energies in together, nurture genuine connections with people around you, and for a few days, for a few hours, for a few moments, not have to worry about what is happening in the virtual world.
So it's digital detox, basically.
Yes.
Many hotels have implemented initiatives to assist with the digital detox. That said, we still need to communicate with our guests in a certain way, and that does tend to be digitally at times. And there are programs that encourage people to connect with nature. We have forest bathing, cooking, pottery classes, horseback riding. everything that kind of encourages people to get off their phones, to get off the need to constantly be digitally connected and to actually disconnect. However, there have been certain experiences, and I've lived them, where we have tried to promote digital detox for a whole family, for example, or groups of people. And it only works when everyone wants that. Normally, you find there's one perpetuator of the digital detox, and the rest are kind of forced upon that forced digital detox, and they don't want to disconnect and reconnect in a very different way. So there has been, I think, until we actually find the right formula, and clearly there is, what activities do we have set up? Because, you know, you have the need to connect or the need to look to at your phone or something because you're bored, or, you know, you're not fully engaged. So the idea is making each and every member of the family or each and every member of the group or that person sufficiently engaged with nature and what they're doing, so that it doesn't become this kind of torture that, oh my God, I cannot look at Facebook or Instagram or record a TikTok video. So, you know, it's just creating those experiences that are highly engaged and that actually resonate with each and every person, because generally we have found that in the group, there's one perpetuator and the rest have to follow suit. And those are mixed results we've seen in the hospitality industry. And to answer your question, in the next few years, do we think the hospitality industry would be better equipped? I actually think definitely. And I think they have no choice to, because, you know, what you're doing in your foundation, I think, is very commendable. And it's sad to see even young children be, you know, connected all day long. We are connected all day long. Obviously, they're learning from us. And there is that need just to, I think, safeguard our mental well-being in general, that we will all have to learn in the workplace, in our homes, in hotels, or wherever we go. I think companies will have to take this digital wellness incredibly serious, because it's going to be a need. It's a byproduct of today's society. So I think they'll have no choice but to learn how to actually, we'll have to learn how to create those digital detox packages that are highly engaging for everyone, if we're going to safeguard the mental well-being of everyone.
We have to create strategies or engaging activities so that people, when they are on vacation, are not feeling that need for the quick hits of what I call dopamine, because they are finding plenty of serotonin from activities like being in nature, horse riding, mushroom picking, strawberry picking, pottery, laughing, cooking. So it's important, like you said, for all industries, hotels, even in our own home, to create those mindful activities so that our need for dopamine can be minimized, because we have serotonin flowing in our systems, which minimizes the need to pick up that device whenever we are bored. So it is very encouraging to think that over the next few years, we might see more such packages available in hospitality industry.
Yeah, I definitely think this is something that is going to become a need. And that's not only for our guests, it's for our employees, ourselves, schools, hospitals. I think everywhere it is a need, and it's a byproduct of how we've created our world, basically, at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, Sonal, thank you so much for sharing such refreshing information about where the hospitality industry is now, what does well-being and wellness mean, and where the industry is headed in the future. Is there any take-home point that you would like to share with our listeners, maybe along the lines of when they are checking into the next hotel, what should they be asking for to make sure they're optimizing their vacation experience?
I think what I would tell everyone is that wellness and well-being are here to stay. It's not just a trend. And when we're going to ask or check into the next hotel, it's asking ourselves, what do we want from this visit. It doesn't need to be, you can even be on a business trip. It can even be a small 4-star hotel in an airport. The idea is, what can they do for my well-being? And I think they'll be very pleasantly surprised to see how the hotel would bend over backwards because that question is being asked.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sonal. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Inspinar today. Let's reconnect with the real world. Let's reconnect with health, joy, and efficiency. Let's reclaim our time and attention. Let's ungrip devices and grip life. I will see you next time.